Hi guys, today saw the announcement of the increase in the energy price cap, and it will be pretty bad. Martin Lewis, the money-saving expert, laid out the extreme situation that's facing people, and I think I've never heard him so desperate as this. He knows exactly what people are going to face from October. Something he touched on here also is the impact on mental health, and he criticised members of Boris Johnson's government who have said that it was necessary to wait for the figure from Ofgem, the energy regulator, before taking action. Have a listen.
Now, the great problem I have with this is I first warned we would be at these levels on my show in March. We knew this was coming. All the politicians saying we need to wait for the actual number. Why? It's a published algorithm based on a single underlying rate, the wholesale year ahead rates. The predictions were always going to be spot on. The nearer we got to the mark, and within a couple of months away, we knew what it was. We did not have to wait. And as the chair of the Money and Mental Health Policy Institute charity, the devastating impact on people like yours mental health because of the worry that you have, to have this announcement come today without having the help in place so people would know what would come, is frankly irresponsible. So my answer to your question is you wait, you cross your fingers, and you pray that when we have a new prime minister, he or she will do a lot more, because a lot more is needed to help you, and a lot more is needed to help many vulnerable people. A lot more is needed to help many state pensioners, of whom, even on the new state pension, the bigger state pension, this is 37.5% typical use of the state pension. It is a bigger proportion of the old state pension. It is a bigger proportion of what a single person on universal credit gets. It's a bigger proportion of what people on benefits get. The help in place is clearly nowhere near of the scale of magnitude needed to get people to survive this. So I'm afraid I don't, even though I've been the money-saving expert 20 years and I've got the grey hair and thinning hair to prove it, I do not have an answer for you. We have to look at the governing classes once they get in place.
Now, apologies for the audio. There was somebody breathing in the background, and it's not myself. But the point, of course, he raised here, the first point he raised here, the idea that he talked about this back in March. He predicted this in March. And what did Boris Johnson's government do between March and the time he's about to leave? Absolutely nothing. Yes, there was some support, but that was based on the previous rate. It was not based on the new rate in October. And Martin Lewis has been talking about this all through the summer. Even when he was on holiday, he jumped on Twitter to say, look, something needs to be done. And the response from Boris Johnson's government, wait for the next Prime Minister. And of course, Martin is completely correct to say that this is irresponsible behaviour, and irresponsible that they're announcing this cap lift, this rise in the cap, when there's no support in place. Like, one thing is to say, okay, the cap is rising in October, this is what we're going to do. But instead they're saying, yes, the cap is rising in October, and well, you'll have to wait until the 5th or 6th of September when we have a new Prime Minister, and then they're going to tell you what they're going to do. So between now and the beginning of September, many people will not be able to sleep at night because they're waiting for the new Prime Minister to come up with something. And unfortunately, and this is my fear, what's going to happen is Liz Truss, who'll likely take over, will do nothing until people start refusing to pay their bills. Or with the other parts of the cost of living crisis, for example, rising mortgage rates, people are unable to pay their mortgages and they default on those payments. So we're going to unfortunately see a couple of months. And where am I getting this idea from? Well, if we look at the pandemic, what did Boris Johnson and his government do during the pandemic at the very beginning, when it was necessary, when they were advised by experts? The experts were telling them to take action. Here we have a money-saving expert telling the government to take action, and the government are ignoring him. And like in the pandemic, ignore until they're forced into taking action. At the moment, there's no pressure. Yes, there is external pressure, but there's no pressure within the Conservative Party to take action now. And unfortunately, I believe it's going to have to take people refusing to pay their bills, energy companies cutting people off because they don't pay their bills, and people defaulting on mortgages or other loans, and then the government will sit up and listen. But that will take months. It could be Christmas before you see real action. I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope that Liz Truss instead will realize the problem and immediately attack it. But I'm afraid I'm going to be right in my opinion that she will not. But once again, I hope I'm wrong. And the idea that, the response to this crisis is the money-saving expert is telling people to cross their fingers and pray is pretty desperate. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.